Dare I say a Hall of Fame list of guests today that includes Derek Moncrief and Cam Judge is Solomon Elimimian, the president of the CFL Players Association, but just past a week past his announcement to retire from pro football after 10 illustrious seasons. It would have been 11 in 2020, and he has moved on to life after football. And Solly, I appreciate you joining us again. I'll say congratulations on that Hall of Fame career, but does it feel weird to say that you're retired? Are you used to it yet?
I'm not used to it, but I do. There are perks to it. You know, I can hit the snooze button a couple more times now without rushing to the gym. So, you know, that's a pro, but it's definitely different not to have that mindset of, you know, working out and having a purpose for the season.
It's going to be weird for us to watch CFL football without you on the field. And I do want to talk about your career and so forth, but and we've all seen the tributes that have poured out. I would say the most unbelievable tribute came from the Rainbow Warriors in Hawaii, and I want to talk about your career there. But the decision to retire, what led up to that decision? It could not have been easy last week.
Yeah. It was something that I thought about for a couple months now, and it was just one where, you know, just thinking about really in December and just saying, okay, you know, what's the goal for next season? What is it that I want to accomplish? And the more I thought about it, I really couldn't pinpoint, you know, that goal, that motivation that's always kind of propelled me to, you know, Solomon Elimimian on the football field. And, you know, more importantly, just, you know, other interests outside of football, you know, started, taking hold. And honestly, I never thought that I'd be in a position where, you know, I had things going on outside of football that I really wanted to explore. And that was really what came down to it, leaving on my own terms. But obviously, you know, and honestly, just really in my mind, having nothing to accomplish, nothing. You know, when I looked around, there's nothing that I wanted to do in terms of football. And, you know, I just thought it'd be fair and the right time for me to move on and just pursue other things in life, things that really have been interesting me, you know, recently. And, you know, it's something that I'm happy about, something that my family, you know, supports me on. And, you know, I'm excited about the next chapter.
Well, you know, then I hope you feel good then, because you don't have anything left to accomplish. You've won a Grey Cup, first defensive player of the modern era to win the MVP of the league. Record-setting career with BC. You got to play for Canada's team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Solly. So I'm glad, because very few guys get to leave on their own term. I could probably count it on one hand, to be honest with you. So good for you, if you're at peace with it. We got Hall of Fame rider broadcaster John Lynch here. He's got some questions for you. What do you got, Frenzy?
Solly, great to see you again. I loved you on the field out there. I'm going to ask you the big question. Are we going to play football this year? It's bounced around so much. You're the guy who can probably give us a straight answer, and we've been looking for summer. What do you say?
Well, you know, that's a good question, and obviously everybody wants to know. And, you know, from our standpoint, the PA, we're committed to having a safe 18-game season. I think, you know, what the commissioner said yesterday was very positive of, you know, they're also committed to having an 18-game season. So I know there's a lot of reports out there, speculations, but, you know, as long as we're working towards that goal, you know, good things will happen. And I'm a very optimistic person. I always believe that if you put your, you know, mind towards something, if you work together as a group, you know, there's ways to accomplish that. And obviously there's hurdles. You know, we have to meet the certain requirements with the, you know, health and provincial officials. And that's something that we're working on right now. And hopefully we can have a document on the return to play protocol, a safe one, submitted by next week. So those are positive signs. And, you know, I would, you know, just, you know, ask people just to remain optimistic and be encouraged.
Solomon, just some comments from our viewers. Guys, can you put, they just slipped off the screen. There's somebody coming in here. One from Micah Awe. The GOAT, my biggest mentor since entering the CFL in 2017. Whoa. Congrats on a legendary career. We'll come back to that. Craig Campbell from the Hockey Hall of Fame in downtown Toronto says the CFL was a better league with Solomon Elimimian. What a fine player. Vancouver and Canada are better with you as a person by making your home here. And that is a great comment, Craig. And I'm asking, where are you settling, Solly? Where are you now, and where do you plan to live in the years ahead?
Yeah, so Vancouver's home. I'm actually in Vancouver right now, completing day 11 of my 14-day quarantine. I was in the States, you know, the last couple of months, but I'm back in Vancouver. It's home for me, and I've had 9 years here, and One thing that kind of always stuck out to me was what Corey Banks told me. He was like, so I'll try to stay in the same city as long as possible, and, you'll find good things happen. And, I took heed to that advice, and I've made some really great contacts here in Vancouver and, awesome friends here and, great opportunities in the business world. So Vancouver will be home for the near future.
BC Lions, what's the situation with them? We've heard they're going to be in good shape for this year. We've heard they're not going to be in good shape. So, Sully, can you just sort of enlighten us on what the real situation is?
Yeah, well, I really can't comment on the business side of things, but what I can say is, being part of that organization, I think they have really competent people in charge there. I look at Neil McAvoy, somebody that it's a BC Lion through and through, who's been there, who's paid his dues. He has the opportunity to really show that he can build a team. They brought Ryan Rigmaiden back. He was over in Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's a really great evaluator of talent. And I think that's going to be important for the BC Lions to try to get good young talent in that market and, where the fans can gravitate and get a hold of household names. When I was playing with the BC Lions, we always kept household names. Wally always kept a strong nucleus of group of guys where, you always kind of knew what the product was going to be. And I think they're off to a good start. And I'm bringing Ryan Rigmaiden back and also Neil McAvoy. And, you can't forget G. Roy Simon, who's still, part of that, organization and plays an integral role in that organization. So, you look at the personnel they have, I think they're in good hands.
The GOAT, another GOAT, G. Roy, which he literally is in terms of receptions. I love that man, and I can't wait to see all of them when we get back to CFL football and get out to the West Coast. Jack Fulton watching in Vulcan, Alberta says, congratulations, Solomon. We need more players to seek potential post-football careers while still playing. I commend you to finish with the game before the game is finished with you. Jeff, the Stamps fan, said Lou Pasaglia is one of the few that left on his own terms. So I'm glad I asked that question, Solly, and I'm happy with your answer. But it's interesting when you say staying in one place because the players fought for the one-year contracts, and you hear us a lot from the fans going, and the teams don't like it either. It's like, how do we sell jerseys when we only have a guy for a year? What would you tell young guys? That's kind of a slippery slope, eh?
Well, I think you look at the system and how, contracts, are made. And, Rod, obviously, a little bit about that. Sometimes a player commits to a team for 2-3 years, but the team doesn't commit to that player. And I would say the system needs to be one where it gives a player such a comfort that if I'm going to commit to that organization, the organization should commit to me. So I think, we can do a better job of facilitating that. But, for me, it always worked for me. I played, under, Wally Bono, who, pretty much told me, hey, Solly, as long as you do your job, you'll be here. We want to encourage player retention. And obviously we understand that football is a tough business, but, you said the fans, and that's the number one consumer. But, if you look at, there's different ways I think that we can come about, enticing players to stay in the same city and really having the team and the community commit to that player as well.
Yeah, when you say that and you talk about Wally, and I think about your great years in Vancouver, when you've got a great organization with leaders that you trust, the loyalty just comes naturally, so that's kind of what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. The loyalty, comes, the loyalty comes naturally. Just, one point, on that loyalty factor, I tore my Achilles in 2015. And I remember, Wally said, hey, Sally, you know what, you're a big part of our organization. Obviously, you've you got a significant injury that, a lot of people don't come back from. But, we're going to trust it, knowing your mentality and how you approach things, that you'll be, the Sally that we all know. And, he's still committed to me. And that, to me, showed, sense of loyalty where sometimes it's missing. But, it's hard to find nowadays. And I think that, if you look at the system, there's ways to build continuity where you give incentives to teams to keep that same player in the city, right?
From producer Clark, he wants to know, of all the linebackers you played with, who would be your dream trio to start with on the field? You're in one spot. Who's beside you? And if I may, this crew with Moncrief and Judge today, that's a pretty good trio. You could answer that, but of your career, what's your dream starting trio all time?
That's a tough question. Like, I had a really good season with Cam Judge, Moncrief, great players, man. Very versatile. Cam is going to do great things in Toronto, and Moncrief has NFL talent. They both do. But just in terms of my career, obviously being in BC for 9 years, I have to go back to BC, right? And we all remember Team Up 100. The star next to me, Adam Big Hill. How dominant, we played together. We really pushed each other. We made the team better. So Adam would definitely be, besides me, playing at the will linebacker spot. And to my left, I played with really good nickelbacks, Luches Purifoy, Derek Moncrief, obviously I just mentioned him. But I would go with Corey Banks. I would say Corey Banks. Corey Banks was one of the best players I ever played with, versatile, communicated in the locker room and communicated on the field, and which is a great locker room personality. And he's someone that always made training camp go a little bit easier. He always had the jokes and everything that made you kind of forget how tough training camp was. So I would say Corey Banks, myself, and Adam Bighill.
Those are some tremendous players and great guys, too. We've had them all on the show. I just got to ask you this about the Hawaii thing, because it came across my Google search, the Rainbow Warriors, the tribute they did to you. Did you obviously saw what they put out when you announced your retirement? I mean, if you had a 144 tackle season in the CFL, you ate up the CFL. You must have just dominated at Hawaii. What are your memories of playing there?
Yeah, I had a great time playing in Hawaii. You guys remember Coach June Jones, who coached at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. He was my head coach in Hawaii. Actually came to my house when I was at Crenshaw High School, and he actually recruited me, offered me a scholarship. My older brother at the time was going to Hawaii, and Coach Jones was sitting in front of my in my living room and said, "Solly, I haven't seen film on you, but your older brother Abe is a beast, and I trust his word on it, and we want to offer you a scholarship." And Hawaii really changed my life, being an inner city kid from Los Angeles, and kind of viewing the world in one way. Going to Hawaii and being able to kind of relax and find myself as a young man, I'm forever indebted to that university and that program. And, obviously I got strong ties there. My older brother is the defensive backs coach for Hawaii. So it's a place that I consider home. Great people, great fans. And, it's been tremendous to get the feedback and support from them through my career and also on my retirement.
Outstanding. Well, Solomon, the CFL's been richer for your involvement on the field. We look forward to your role continuing with the Players Association. Do not be a stranger, please, and appreciate the time today.
Hey, Rod, thanks for having me. Appreciate you. Thanks for all your support throughout the CFL, and let's hope we have a safe 21 season. Appreciate you.
Always. You betcha. Always. Solomon Elimimian from the Players Association joining us days after his retirement.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.